What's up, everybody? Chm Carnivores here. Today I'm going to talk to you about truncata, Nepenthes Truncata, how to grow them, to dispel some of the claims about them, and just set you up for success to grow this absolutely amazing Nepenthes. Stay tuned. I look forward to talking with you. Hey, everybody. So I wanted to talk through Nepenthes Truncata and why, in my mind, this is the creme de la creme of Nepenthes, if you will. So most of them are endemic to the Philippines. They grow in lowland conditions for the most part. You have a Pacian red that will grow in the highland conditions, and then depending on what school of thought you're in, Rob Cantley, which is either I feel as a cousin, will grow in the very high highland conditions. However, truncata is a very, very hardy plant, and it can grow in intermediate conditions just fine. I find that it grows very well, as a matter of fact, in intermediate conditions. So there is a few things to note about truncata that I would like to talk through. One, it gets its name truncata because of its truncate leaves that take on a heart shape. As the plant gets bigger, these leaves will stretch out and take on more of a paddle shape. But when they're younger, and in this case sort of adolescent size, they continue to have this sort of heart-shaped leaf. They are a slower grower. You hear a lot of people say that they're extremely slow. I think that depends on the species that you get. I find that the ones that I have are not too much slower than regular Nepenthes. I mean, obviously, if you're talking like a Maxima or Renoir Diana, something like that, they are slow in comparison to that. But in general, they are pretty fast, intermediately fast growers, in my mind, if given the right conditions. However, the benefit to them is whenever they do put out a new leaf, it is enormous. It normally is an enormous leaf jump. So it's not uncommon, especially when they're young, to have leaf jumps. I'm going to take you over here for a minute. That are, the size of the entire plant itself. So we got a new leaf coming out here. They tend to grow. Bring you back over here. They tend to grow in sort of this whole fanned out motion. The other thing about them that a lot of people, they have very, very prominent nectar glands, and so that kind of freaks a lot of people out because they think they have a disease. You'll see here these little bumps. No worries there. If you turn it over, you'll see that it's got nectar glands on that. The pitchers do take a while to develop. They are not necessarily hard, but they are a lot more firm, hardy pitchers, so they will take time. Truncata are very epiphytic, so a lot of them in nature grow up in trees and stuff, so they don't need a whole lot. So they like really loose soil, which is why I've got this one in this pond net pot, which I think is a great alternative to net pots. I have a video on that. You can get these at your local big box store, and they're like $3 for this pot. They don't have a very large root system, so they can this pot will hold this truncata for a very long time, and this plant can get absolutely enormous, 2, 3, 4 feet before it needs to be repotted. When you do buy truncata, that's something you have to take in mind, is they will get absolutely massive. So it is not unheard of in cultivation for a truncata like this at full grown. Now we're talking like 20 years to take up almost the entirety of this grow tent. So they can get enormous. So keep that in mind when you're growing them. Of course, that will take some time. They also have very thick, leathery leaves comparative to other Nepenthes. General rule of thought with any plant, right? The thicker the leaves, the less they need water, right? They're going to hold on to that water, and the more susceptible they are to overwatering. So truncata, I find to be very forgiving for overwatering within reason. If their soil is soaking wet, they will not be forgiving, just like any other Nepenthes. But they will tell you that they're overwatered. So this one is a perfect example of what's called edema. And edema is when you give the plant too much water, the cells within the leaves swell too much and they burst and they turn brown. It isn't lethal to the plant, but it just looks unsightly, and it will slow down growth. So watch out for that. In general, though, I find them to be one of the easiest Nepenthes to grow. They don't require a whole lot of fuss. They just sort of do their own thing. As a matter of fact, the less you fuss with them, the better. They seem to not be very temperamental when it comes to being moved around. They are slower growing, but I don't find them to be so appreciably slower that it should dissuade somebody. They are my favorite Nepenthes by far. What I usually do is just water around on the soil itself. And as you can see, I can give the leaves a light spraying. You don't want to do too much on the leaves. It's not going to be as bad as like a Rob Cantley, which is very, very angry when you get water on the leaves. But yes, they will get, so when they flower spike, they will get flower spikes 2 to 3 feet long. Whereas like a Rob Cantley, its cousin, will get flower spikes that are like close to 6 feet. So their flower spikes are not unreasonable. And what the cool thing about Truncata is, to me, is otherworldly rather, is it will get, it just set one of them, a Truncata giant, just set a Guinness Book of World Records, had over a 2-foot tall pitcher. They will get enormous pitchers, and they will be able to consume mice if that happens. But Osmocote pellets work just fine, and they don't give you that awful stink. So whenever I get pitchers like this, I always keep the dead ones on. I'll drop a Osmocote pellet or 2 in there, and then sort of let it do its thing. As you can see, just like any other plant Nepenthes, the growth point is inside here, and it's starting to peek out, getting ready to put out a new leaf. So that is a short version of that. There's no need to kill it with over information. I highly recommend Truncata to any growers. Like I said, they are very, very, very forgiving and friendly to new growers, people that are learning, and they do quite well. I have several in my collection. Biggest thing is, remember that when they get big, they will get big. And they tend to be like, most Nepenthes are like this, but Truncatas, you can see the difference. When they start getting bigger, they start growing faster. They start running downhill. So keep that in mind when buying this. It will take a couple of years, so you got plenty of time to come up with a plan, but they will get big. Oh, and last, bonus thing. Truncata are one of the few giants that can be grown indoors, so that's exciting. It takes a little bit more time to get them acclimated to the lower humidity, but those thicker leaves help you out a bunch when you're talking about lower humidity. So they will slow down on their growth indoors, but they will grow indoors, which is a huge thing. Not everybody has the opportunity to have a grow tent. Highly recommend this plant. 10 out of 10, my favorite. Hope you guys have a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.